It's August 1999, and for 12-year-old Michael Rosario, life at Fox Run Apartments in Red Knot, Delaware, is as ordinary as ever, except for the looming Y2K crisis and his overwhelming crush on his 16-year-old babysitter Gibby. But when a disoriented teenage boy named Ridge appears out of nowhere, Michael discovers there is more to life than stockpiling supplies and pining over Gibby. It turns out that Ridge is carefree, confident, and bold, things Michael wishes he could be. Unlike Michael, however, Ridge isn't where he belongs. When Ridge reveals that he's the world's first time traveler, Michael and Gibby are stunned but curious. As Ridge immerses himself in 1999, fascinated by microwaves, basketballs, and malls, Michael discovers that his new friend has a book that outlines the events of the next 20 years, and his curiosity morphs into something else: focused determination. Michael wants, no, needs, to get his hands on that book. How else can he prepare for the future? But how far is he willing to go to get it? My preview today is The First State of Being by Erin Entrada Kelly. I am reading it via the Libby app, and I obtained the book through Sacramento Public Library. August 17, 1999. Peaches, Michael Rosario thought. That's what we need. His mother loved peaches. If the world came to a standstill at midnight on January 1st, 2000, at least she would have two things she cherished: peaches and Michael. He gazed at the shelves of canned fruit in Super Saver. He pulled the can from the shelf. He looked left, then right, then left again. It was early, barely 7:30 in the morning, so the place was practically empty. It was the perfect time to go grocery shopping, if you'd call it that. He slipped the peaches into the pocket of his windbreaker and felt them settle. He focused on the exit and headed in that direction. He pictured his mother, huddled in the darkened hours of the new millennium, scooping a spoonful of sweet peaches into her mouth, saying, "You know what, Michael? You were right about Y2K. I should have listened. Sometimes 11-year-old boys know exactly what to do." Only he wasn't 11 anymore. As of today, he was 12. And they probably wouldn't need to open the canned goods right away. They'd have to eat everything from the refrigerator first before it all went bad. The exit was right in front of him. 1 or 2 steps, and shoot, the automatic doors would slide open. Hey, Mikey Mike!" He froze. "It's Michael, not Mikey Mike," he instinctively said, though he didn't say it aloud because he recognized the voice, and it belonged to 19-year-old Billy Gibson, who everyone called BG. If Michael were a different person, he might have kept walking or pretended he hadn't heard, but he couldn't. Of course he couldn't, because everyone always heard BG. BG made sure of that. Michael turned. The peaches were so heavy. Michael felt the urge to sneeze. He was still getting over his stupid summer cold, and his eyes watered. He didn't want to move. He didn't want to sneeze. He didn't want to do anything but disappear into the ether. BG was in the produce section, wearing the standard Super Saver uniform, the same kind Michael's mother had worn before she'd been fired. A cart of potatoes was parked next to him. "What are you doing here so early in the morning?" BG said. He picked up some potatoes and shoved them into place. Getting flowers for your mama? He snickered. Michael couldn't think of anything to say. Not a single word came to him. He pressed his right thumb into the center of his left palm. As soon as he looks at the potatoes again, I'll keep walking, he told himself. But BG didn't look at the potatoes. Instead, his gaze drifted over Michael's shoulder and landed on Jamar Prince, who was walking toward them holding 3 Butterfingers and a crumpled receipt. BG's expression turned serious. Jamar smiled faintly at Michael. Hey, I thought that was you, he said. You want to walk back with me? Since when did Jamar Prince, who was 16 and in high school, want to walk anywhere with him? Since when did Billy Gibson work the morning shift? Since when did either of them come anywhere near the Super Saver at 7:30 a.m.? Michael was here at precisely this time because he didn't want to see anyone. And now look. Michael shifted from foot to foot. BG strode over, holding a pale white potato, which somewhat resembled the shape and color of his head. He narrowed his eyes at Jamar's candy bars. Did you pay for those? Jamar raised his chin. Yeah, I paid for them, he said, his voice sharp. What are you trying to say? Michael's body tensed. He felt like a blade of grass caught between 2 boulders. The exit was right there, a few steps away. If you paid for them, how come they're not in a bag? Said BG. What do I need a bag for? Jamar said. And I don't need to steal candy bars from this raggedy store when I have money of my own. Jamar stepped closer to Michael and nudged his shoulder. Come on, let's walk back. Keep me company. Jamar headed toward the exit. Michael followed. You better not be stealing. My father's the manager, you know, BG called after them. He was talking to Jamar, of course, even though Michael was the one with a pocket full of peaches. Jamar called BG a name under his breath, a 2-syllable swear word, as he and Michael went through the automatic doors and walked toward Fox Run Apartments, where they both lived. Michael wasn't one for swearing. He heard it all the time, of course, at school, around the complex, in movies, but for whatever reason, it made him feel squirmy, like he was doing something wrong, even though he wasn't doing anything. I wanted to make sure he wasn't giving you a hard time, Jamar said. He shoved 2 of the candy bars in his back pocket, ripped the 3rd open with his teeth, and spit a piece of the torn wrapper onto the ground as they crossed the street. Michael wanted desperately to pick it up so he could throw it away properly, but he didn't want to look fussy. Jamar continued, Sometimes he messes with Darius. Darius was Jamar's youngest brother. Michael wasn't sure how old he was, maybe 8 or 9. Jamar had another brother, Elijah, who was going into 7th grade, just like Michael. They weren't friends, they weren't enemies, they weren't anything. Darius is quiet like you, Jamar said, his mouth full. Easy target for people. Except he didn't say people, he said the swear word again. They were now on the grounds of Fox Run Apartments and Town Homes, the best community in Delaware. And Jamar veered left toward Building A, while Michael veered right toward Building J. See you around, said Jamar. Thanks, Michael said, but Jamar was already too far away to hear him. And this has been a preview of The First State of Being.